just saying, like, the first film was so good that he was like, let me try to recreate a version of that still pays homage to, like, the original, but also gives something to people who haven't seen the original.
Welcome to Fresh Out. I'm Cude.
I'm JC.
And we're fresh out of Gladiator 2.
Gladiator 2, starring Denzel Washington, Paul Mescal, and Pedro Pascal, directed by Ridley Scott, follows an unknown Roman soldier who gets swept up into the life of a gladiator.
So, Gladiator 2, what was your expectation of this movie going in?
Okay, so I was trying to remember the first one. I hadn't seen it in a while. Definitely an iconic movie, right? Oscar-winning, Russell Crowe. Definitely, I think it won Best Picture when it came out.
It better had.
Yeah. And
if it didn't, it better had.
Russell Crowe win? I think he.
It better had won like Best Actor.
At the very least, I know for sure it won Best
whatever.
Picture.
It should have been won Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Picture.
Yeah.
It should have won all three of those if it
absolutely. So going into it, when you think about it like that, it's never gonna hit the peak that people think. Like, it's just one of those things where it's an uphill battle the entire way. Like, no matter how good it's gonna be.
Was it an uphill battle though?
Well, so after seeing this film, it's a stacked
So going
cast.
into it in the first 20 minutes, how did you feel about this movie?
So first 20 minutes,
did you feel like positive about it? Or?
Yes. So every time I go into a film that's a sequel for a movie that's that iconic, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lower my expectations a bit, but I'm still gonna have relatively high expectations because it's like a franchise or trying to create this franchise.
I mean, it's Ridley Scott. He's been off of his game for a while.
Well, I mean, like, there's been some like movies.
His last movie was like Covenant, dude.
Okay, but
Alien Covenant was trash, bro.
I don't. The Last Duel. The Last Duel was one.
The Last Duel was entertaining.
Yeah,
I like The Last Duel, but I like Ben Affleck and I like Matt Damon though. So
yeah. And different. Adam Driver was in it too. So there you go.
Oh yeah. Adam Driver was in it.
And Jodie Comer, which the Bike Riders. Bam.
Oh yeah, that was that shit.
Yeah. So.
But he's definitely off of his game though. He's old and he's not good anymore. Like The Last Duel was okay, but like he's done. Ridley Scott is done, bro. He's done.
I don't know if that's the case.
Covenant? Have you seen Alien Covenant? Oh, it's so bad, dude.
Dang.
It's so bad. And I'm an Alien fan.
Roasted.
Ridley Scott is done. With this movie, it has cemented that, bruh, like Scott-Free Productions or whatever, you're done. You're done.
So here's what I'll say about this film overall is that any expectation you have for it to be like either near the same level,
but
or
nobody's expecting that though. Everybody's going into this movie expecting it to not be as good as the first movie, right? So it's already a strike against it, right?
True.
So the more that this movie tries to throw in little Easter eggs or throw in a quick little 5-second flash, they weren't even doing proper flashbacks. They were doing like 3-second flashbacks where it's like, you remember this flash of a scene? Do you remember this? It's like, dude, this was rough, man.
So I think in the beginning, not to give too much away, but they kind of do this version of like artistic kind of, it's not clip art, but it's like more
Well, no. See, I like that though. I like that.
There was this.
It was painting. It was like a painting, and it was showing
artistic kind of like.
It was showing the story kind of up until.
Yeah. And I think that part was great. And I think once they started to reference it too much.
That was like the first 1 minute. Though.
No, I know.
That was the first minute of the movie.
But that's why what I'm saying is like when they started to reference back to it too much, then it felt like oversaturated. When it just gave like the hint of like, hey, here's where we're coming from. This is the history of what you're about to see, and here's the rest of that history. I get that. Yeah. But so first 15, 20 minutes, intense fight scenes right off the bat. Boom, you're in it. And I was like, okay, I like this. I'm in this. And then it starts to get to a point where, man, I feel like I'm with Cude. You could already sense that he maybe is not really vibing with.
Ain't nobody vibing with this movie.
This
If
sequel.
somebody tells you that they're vibing with this movie, they are a terrible person to take advice
If
from.
you weren't sure,
Do
I'm
not
sure you
take
can
life
find
advice from this person. If somebody tells you that this was a good movie, do not take life advice from them, dude.
Yeah. Well,
Straight up.
so I think the biggest pitfall of this film was that the fact that they were kind of tethered to having to like pretty much in some way basically appease the fans of the original film, but also cater to people who have maybe not seen the original film, right?
And that's a stupid route to take. Hollywood, listen to this. Stop trying to appease people that have never seen the original, who have no regard for the original of how good it was, and people that do have that high esteem for the original product. Stop trying to appease everybody, dude, because you did it with Ghostbusters. You ruined Ghostbusters, all right? Stop doing that. There is 2 different generations. There's maybe even 3 generations, right? So it's kind of like you're trying to bring back this old story that nobody really remembers unless you're like old. I'm old. So I love Gladiator. I own Gladiator. I watch Gladiator maybe like once a year or something. It comes up maybe not even once a year. But like I love Gladiator. But I was also way younger when Gladiator came out. So Gladiator was like mind-blowing when it came out. Like it was dope. I'm older now. If you're trying to convince these younger kids that have never seen the original Gladiator that this is a franchise or whatever the case is, you know what I think it was? It was that Ridley Scott is done. He's done, dude. He's done. This movie is nail in the casket. Ridley Scott is done. This is Ridley Scott's last hope to get back in the good graces of Hollywood, because he's had some straight up bombs, right? This movie is going to make money.
Yeah.
So he's going to kind of keep his toe in Hollywood to where he can come out with a couple more movies before he's toast, right?
Okay.
This was his, I need to make this a blockbuster so I can keep my toe dipped in because I messed up with Covenant. I messed up with a couple of other movies. A lot of people hate Prometheus. I actually like Prometheus, but like a lot of people hated Prometheus. Ridley Scott is not on his game. You know what I mean? And that happens, dude. That's why James Cameron doesn't make movies anymore. James Cameron's like, bro, I'm not making movies no more, dog.
I don't know about all that.
Nah, that's what happens.
Avatar: Way of Water? Come on, dude. All right.
That movie sucked, though.
All right, now we're getting real controversial. Anyways, that said, I think it's tough to catch lightning in a bottle twice. And what he was trying to do was trying to like catch a version of lightning that he had in that first film and show it to a second generation. And
it wasn't even lightning, though.
I know.
It's a good movie.
No, I'm just saying, like, the first film was so good that he was like, let me try to recreate a version of that still pays homage to like the original, but also gives something to people who haven't seen the original. And he kind of, and that's always the trouble, is like when you try to go between 2 camps where you're like, let me try to honor what I've already done and also create something new. And it's like you can't do one or the other. You either have to create something completely new or, I don't know, I mean, like create something that's like a legit sequel, which is like an impossible thing to do.
This movie being tethered to the first storyline makes this movie worse. If this movie was a standalone project, with the big names, you got Denzel Washington, huge name.
Yep.
You got Pedro Pascal, he's on fire right now, dude. Last of Us and all this stuff, he's on fire, dude.
Yeah.
The other dude, Paul Mescal, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know this guy.
He's an up and comer for sure. Like,
yeah. Maybe if they would have got 3 heavy hitters.
All of Us Strangers, or I think that's what it's called, was the main one.
Maybe if they would have got 3 heavy hitters instead of Paul Mescal,
that's why
got
Joseph
a third.
Quinn. Joseph Quinn was kind of like they tried to fill in the gaps with.
Yeah, that wasn't the Emperors is not.
And Fred Hessen,
not worth
Hessinger,
going
or
to
Hessinger?
it.
Yeah.
You get 3 heavy hitters. You got Denzel, Pedro, and one more heavy hitter, right?
Yeah.
Then you can make a movie about any story that's set in Rome. It doesn't have to be a Gladiator 2 sequel 20 years later. Nobody remembers this little kid, dude. Nobody remembers this little kid. The only reason I know this little kid and that the mom is I seen her in the trailer and I was like, oh, he's the little kid? Oh, okay. But that's lame.
They make the connection.
That is
but
so lame,
I feel
dude.
like for sure, especially as you can see, Cude's a big Gladiator fan. So it's like if you're a Gladiator fan, you're gonna be upset. This is not gonna be the film for you.
This is not.
And I feel like if you haven't seen Gladiator, you'd be like, oh, this was all right. But even that said, I would say my biggest thing, because I don't remember Gladiator that well, was my biggest peeve was, man, the opinions change so often. Like complex conflicts tend to have easy solutions where it's like, I hate this person, and then all of a sudden, I learned this one fact, and now I love this person. I don't want to give away anything about the film, but it just felt like there was so much at stake, and then all of a sudden it's solved so simply. And not to like kind of simplify it in that way, but it felt like a couple different sequences where I thought there was going to be this huge conflict, like this thing that was going to be epic, like bigger than life for the movie, ended up being very minimal. But I think the main thing that we both agreed that we liked about this film was that there were certain characters that we weren't sure what their arc was going to look like.
Yeah.
And actually, it was much different than we expected.
Yeah, there were multiple characters in this movie where their arc was not what I expected.
Yeah, so...
And some that I expected, but I accepted.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
But like, yeah, this movie should have just been a standalone movie without being connected or tied in any kind of secret Easter egg way or what minimal way to the first movie. If they would have just made this its own storyline and then went in depth with more of its own chronology of events or whatever, instead of trying to rely on like, oh yeah, let's call back to a movie that was 20 years ago that only old people like now. Like, dude, like, what a misstep, dude. Ridley Scott is done. He's done. Stop making movies, bruh.
Cude's convinced.
Stop making movies, dog. So this is why you get Ridley Scott. The look, the color grading, and the soundtrack. Like, I guarantee that he's the one that's like putting these elements together. He's not doing it himself, but personally he has teams of people and he knows how to pick a good orchestra or whatever the case is. So that's why he's still in business, right?
Yeah.
Because he can put these elements together. Making a movie is hard. And so when you see a movie that is shot well, this movie is shot well. It's got good shots. It has a good overall tone of like, it's just the story. And the acting is not average.
Yeah.
This is like above average acting.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it good acting. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there are some moments that are decent.
Pedro Pascal never stood out. Denzel's character never stood out in a way where I was just like, oh, like I don't know, man.
I think
it was just a dud.
Part of it is a testament to the writing. If we're getting really real about it, because it's like there are these talented actors that are putting the work in there. Like, we felt the emotion in what they were saying, but what they were actually saying didn't really have much gravity to it. It felt like I think the main thing that you pointed out before we started this was there was no quotable moments.
No quotables, dog.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah,
no,
dude,
because
no
there was
quotables.
nothing to really like reference. There's nothing that stuck with you. There were some emotional moments. There were some like parts that were supposed to be uplifting, but it was more because of it was like more actions more than words. Like
all the motivational speeches that that the main character, Paul Mescal's character, did in this movie, were not motivational. Like, none of them made me
No.
feel like, dang, okay, let's go and fight to the
Exactly.
death for this guy.
They kind
Like, they were all very regular sayings like,
yes.
we're gonna win. And we're gonna win hard. It's like, what?
Yeah,
That's
I
not
think-
pumping me up to hit the 3-point shot at the buzzer, bro. Like,
I couldn't agree more. And I
Yeah,
think they
dude.
relied on the fact that he was just like so hardcore with the fight scenes, and he's just like he's
Yeah.
very gritty, and he's just like fighting his way to the top. And so they're relying on the fact that he's just so badass, like with his fighting, that like he doesn't have to have motivational speeches. Like
Yeah.
he's just like pounding
just everyone
ass.
respects him immediately.
They're like, he survived, and he's gonna be
they
the
were
next
trying to make him
Gladiator.
like they were trying to make him like the new Maximus, because Maximus in the old one, he was, when he was going beast mode, everybody respected him from that.
Yeah.
So they were trying to do that same feel, but it didn't
Quite
feel the
connect and
same.
click,
It didn't click. It didn't
Yeah.
click. It didn't click, dude.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
So yeah, I feel like those are the main parts of the film I think that we observed that really kind of we were trying to figure out, like, what would we rate this film? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it somewhere in between? So let's,
and I'm still toiling over the
I
number
know,
because
and
like
even when I was watching it, I was
dude, there was moments of this where they had to up the ante on every fight scene and add animals into every single fight scene for some reason.
Yeah.
And that kind of made it lame to me, because it was like every fight scene had CGI something in it.
Yeah, I would
rather
say
than it just be man versus man.
I would say
type
the
of thing.
choreography of most of the fight scenes, and like it felt very realistic for an
Yeah.
unrealistic scenario.
Yeah.
Right?
Now they used to. So I heard that they used to fill up the Coliseum with water and have battles
For
and
the-
ships.
yeah.
So that was definitely a thing. But where are they getting sharks from? You know what I mean? Like, you're just gonna catch a shark in the
That's so
ocean and
funny.
then like bring it to the Rome.
Spoiler.
Bring
but
it to the
not a-
middle
not
of
a big
Rome,
spoiler,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
little stuff like that where it's like I can understand monkeys.
Sharks with freaking laser
and-
beams attached
yeah,
to their
exactly,
heads.
dude. So I can understand monkeys, I can understand rhinoceros or whatever. Like I get that, but like sharks, bro, like
Yeah.
they had to add in sharks to make it that much more extreme. This is
Yeah.
number 2, dude.
Very true,
It's
very
Gladiator 2. We have sharks. Like, it was just, it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
We can do ratings.
Let's do
we
it.
can do ratings.
Let's do it.
Because you guys already know how I feel. I just said it's not a good movie.
All right. Who's kicking us off? Is it me or you?
I think you got to go first, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna adjust based
All
on
right.
yours.
So I feel like we've gone through pretty much everything we can think of.
I may go too low if
That's okay.
Like,
that's
I got to
okay.
go off of you.
So for me, I always think about, right, the director, the actors, what they were trying to do, the cards they were dealt, all that stuff. That said, we've already walked through it. I don't need to go back through it, so I'm just going to give my score, which is a 6.
6.
Which
Okay,
I'm sure
okay.
is higher than you were expecting.
Okay.
Right?
No. That's lower
Yeah.
than I was expecting.
Okay, so I think the median score usually for people was like 75% or whatever.
75%.
And you know what? I was honest. I was at the 7 for most of the film, and then I got back down to a 6.
There was big parts of it that were just like boring.
It felt like,
It was just like, bro, I do not care about these characters, brother.
Unfortunately,
Like, y'all keep
I
on
really
doing the
wanted
fight
to.
scenes
I
or
really
something.
wanted to, because I just kept
Yeah.
thinking like, okay,
It's a 20-year-old story.
These conflicts are just like they're getting resolved way too quickly based on like how big they're making them seem.
Yeah.
So that's me. So I'm gonna go
Yeah,
6.
6, all right.
So what are you thinking?
So I'm gonna do 5. I'm gonna do 5 out of
Okay,
10.
that's
This
weird.
movie was definitely mid.
I was
This
thinking
was
you were
a
gonna go
mid
lower,
movie.
so that's not
I
bad.
would go lower, but I'm not feeling hateful today. I'm not feeling. I'm feeling
There we
okay.
go.
I'm feeling kind of jolly.
See, Ridley still likes you.
It's Thanksgiving weekend or week.
Weak.
You know what I mean? So it's like all the families are out in the movie theater. Man, this movie was just not good though. And I say not good in the fact that they could have done its own singular thing and it would have been way better. We're done, dude.
That was fresh out.
I'm Cude.
I'm JC.
Yeah, dude.
No, let's get it real.
Nah, we're good.
All right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
I'm
it.
Cude.
Cut.
I mean,
I'm JC. Dude.
and thanks for watching.
That's how discombobulated we are.
Gladiator
dude.
2.
Gladiator 2, dude.
Gladiator 2.
Wait for this movie to come out, dude. Do not go spend money on this movie. We need to show Hollywood that we don't want to see this crap. We don't want to see this, dude. We're done with this. Ridley, you're out. Scot-free. Get out of here, dude.